Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny and we're gardening here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today it is July 1st and I'm going to do my monthly, first of the month, tour around parts of our garden. I'm not going to do the entire property today, just the things that are the most interesting in my opinion. So come along with me and let's take a look around. Just the other day, I posted a video where I said that the backyard renovation project is done. Of course, we know that no garden project is ever done because there's always new plants growing, new plants dying, things to be changing, things to be rearranging, and so forth. But as far as the original plan that I put together in the spring, everything on that plan was done. Of course, there was a huge area on that plan that just said planting space for perennials and annuals. And so that's what I'm still working on. But the main elements, the big pieces, the backbone of the garden, I think is in place. And so now it's a matter of just being a gardener in this space from here forward. But I wanted to take you on a pretty in-depth tour of the backyard renovation today so that you can kind of get a sense of how things are coming along, which plants are working, which are not. And and come along with me. Since so many of you have been so instrumental in encouraging me and giving me ideas and just generally being my partners in crime alongside of me over these last few months as I've been doing this project. So I wanted you to be able to share in the beauty of what's happening here too, since you are so invested in it. Oh gosh. Okay, so our weather today. We, like so many places in the United States, we have been having a heat wave in the last few days. But today we have a front moving through with rain, and so while it's quite humid, it's pretty thick. It is much cooler, and so I'm grateful for the rain, and we're going to try to do this tour in between showers. So without any further talking, let's get looking. I'm standing here just off my porch as I'm entering into the backyard, and I just wanted to share this view with you because I think this is probably peak beauty view of this area right here. This is our patio seating area, and this is our big backyard renovation area down here. And this area hasn't really changed this year. There's the side yard garden over there. But what's happening is we've got these beautiful Shasta daisies and some beautiful tall phlox. And they're just looking really pretty together. This is probably the best I've ever seen this phlox doing. It really doesn't get much sun here. Sometimes it gets like an hour of direct morning sun. So probably after it's done blooming, I'll probably move it down the way into some more sun. But I really love the way these daisies and that phlox are looking right now. I have some daylilies over there. I've said before, orange is not my favorite color, but these were here, and they're kind of a special orange daylily. They're not just like the common ditch lily. They have double flowers on them, or even triple. And so, you know, while orange isn't my favorite, I don't mind these flowers here too much. In fact, I kind of like them. So yeah, let me come back over here. Boy, this video is kind of a hot mess so far, isn't it? Okay, and then we have these daylilies, which I did add to this garden. I love the soft pink and the chartreuse center, and I just love the coloration of these daylilies in the garden. So yeah, it's a pretty view right here. Hostas are looking nice. The Columbine, they've gone to seed and they're ready to be harvested and cut back. The hydrangea border over there, looking beautiful. It's a little bit weighed down with rain right now. I love the mix of colors. These are Endless Summer hydrangeas, just the original Endless Summer. They're blooming beautifully this year. I'm really happy with them. Look how blue those are over there. And then how pink this one is. Isn't that odd? I mean, they're within the same garden bed, and yet they have such a different coloration. Here in this bed, we've got the David phlox coming along. Such a beautiful pure white. And it really does smell very sweet. It's a very, very lovely disease-resistant phlox. It's resistant to powdery mildew. And if I put it in a little bit more sun, it would bloom a little heavier, but I like it in this spot too. And the purple cone flowers, they are coming on strong. Look really nice. More of these beautiful pinkish daylilies with the yellow throats. So this is a nice little composition right here. I like that. I have a lily coming along. It's not quite in bloom, but we got lots of buds on it. And of course the bubblegum petunias are looking nice. I have a little pile of work to do here. Got some plants that need to get into the ground and some stuff needs to go to the compost. But let's look past that and look at our twist and shout hydrangea. I love this lace cap hydrangea, and this one has been blooming non-stop beautifully for a month or more, really. It does want a little bit of water on the hottest of days, but oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. I love this twist and shout, and I just love the colors of it. It's mostly pink, a little bit of purple in it. Now a lot of these flowers have gone over and they're past their prime, but it's just so gorgeous. So I'm really happy with this section of the garden right now. I think it's looking quite lovely. So sorry, I got sidetracked. That area has nothing to do with the backyard renovation, but it's looking really good, so I wanted to share it with you. So let's get to the renovation area and see how things are coming along. Yeah, let's get back on task, Jenny. Okay, so here we are at the top of the yard. Over here, not much changed here, although I did do some cleanup. But this shrub here is new. This is a Silver Princess Euonymus from Monrovia. Bought it at Lowe's. We got some leaves down from the rain last night. It's coming on with new growth, but the new growth is not variegated. Isn't that interesting? So I don't know what to expect from this. I've never grown it before. It has a sister plant over on this side, right back in here. It also has new growth coming on. And also, well, some of it is variegated and some of it is not. So look here, like this is new growth and this is new growth. And so is this. So I don't know what's happening there. If you know about variegated euonymus and can tell me why that's going on, let me know. Love to hear. All right, so this area we widened and added a lot of plants into this year. Here I have some habanero pepper plants. The plants are looking okay. They're growing. There's one there, and there. This is the biggest of them. But I don't see any peppers on any of them yet. I do have flower buds, but no peppers. And I think it's pretty late in the season, and I think I should be seeing peppers, but nothing yet. So I don't know if I'm going to be unsuccessful with these or what. So yeah. None of these have any peppers on them. This is 3 sections of Nepeta, Walker's Low, and I just trimmed them back yesterday. They have already bloomed, and I think they'll flush out again and probably bloom again. Sedum. We have some irises here that have big, huge seed pods on them, and I'm going to see if I can get them to give me seeds and experiment with planting iris from seed. See how that goes. I don't know. This is Candy Tuft. I put 2 in this spring, and I had 2 from last year. So these just got a haircut yesterday as well, and they'll flush back out a little bit thicker and be beautiful next spring. Here's my container of carrots, looking very lush and lovely. I've never grown carrots before. I don't know what to expect. Are these ready? I don't know. They don't appear to have any carrots on the bottoms that I can see, so I'm going to let them keep growing and see. There's also carrots over here. These are not doing nearly as well. These were planted into straight compost, whereas those were planted in potting mix, and apparently the potting mix is better. Compost probably burned the seeds too strong. I have my little runway of Dusty Miller that takes you down the path from the patio onto the lawn, and I planted these here because I wanted to have something bright so that in the evening, in the dark, we know where the path is, and it's working really well for that purpose. Now I do have 3 stepping stones here, and my plan is eventually to get more stepping stones on this path, but I just don't have it done yet. Can we look at and love on this summer fashion rose? Oh, goodness. Looking especially lovely with the raindrops on her. This is her second flush of blooms. This flower has gone over. But these, there's two that are just beautiful. And the camera's not picking up the colors the way I'm seeing them. So this is a light pinkish coral color. And the centers down in there that look a little bit dingy and brown right now on the camera, it's actually an ivory yellow color. And so this is a two-tone flower, and the buds on it are yellow. And so it's just so pretty. I just planted this year, and it's put on a little bit of growth. It's only supposed to get 2 or 3 feet tall and wide, so this is going to be a small one. Here's a bud that has had some sort of damage to it. Not sure what is eating on that, but we'll see what that flower does. It may or may not bloom. It's probably budworm, I guess, is what would do that. I don't know. These are Aditha rose lilies. They are budded up and going to be looking gorgeous here in a little while once they open their beautiful pink faces. I have 3 new Japanese bottle brush plants, and it has bloomed. One of them bloomed the other day, and now it's rain bedraggled. And then there's another bud here coming along. And then over on this one, I'm seeing some buds coming. Has a little bit of insect damage. So there's 3 of these plants here. They were mail order plants. I forget which company I mail ordered them from. So they came bare root. And so they're looking okay, but I think they'll look really better next year. This is a verbena. This is the Firehouse series lavender color verbena, and it's doing really well. I've been fertilizing it about every 10 days or so, as I have been with all my annuals, and it has put on a really nice strong flower show. It's a little bit rain bedraggled right now. This is my sad stand of cosmos. Yeah, these cosmos, don't treat your cosmos this way. So, yeah, they're not doing great. But okay, and Japanese Andromeda. This is a new shrub that I put in this year, and the Camellia Camellia Japonica. They're doing lovely. They both have put on lots of new growth. They didn't seem to take any damage from the cicadas, for which I'm very grateful. The red on this one is the new growth in the last couple of weeks, and so I'm happy to see that it's thriving here, and the camellia is thriving. Its leaves are beautifully glossy, nice rich green colors, so I'm very happy with the camellia. And then I forgot to mention back over here, this is a Osmanthus fragrans, or fragrant tea olive, and it too is putting on bright new growth. You see some green there and some there, so it seems to be happy in its place as well, nestled amongst the hydrangeas. Oh look, the sun is coming out. Huh. All right, so this garden, the backbone shrubs, they're doing really well. This annuals, they'll be different next year, and these annuals will be different next year, so I'm really happy with this section. Maybe I should get a move on, because this tour is going to be super long if I don't. Let's get moving. Alrighty, here we have some, what is that? English daisies that I started from seed in a winter sowing project, and they're having some damage from some insects, and they're kind of floppy and they're kind of weedy looking. I don't know what they're supposed to look like, so I don't know if this is normal. If you know about English daisies, let me know. But right now, not sure. I think they're perennial, actually. So I'll probably like spread them out and make them look a little bit more planned and see what they do next year. Bleeding Heart. They did their show. They're just living out the rest of their lives. They're going to yellow and kind of die back, kind of like these 2 older ones. Here is Fothergilla plant. It seems to be doing okay, although it too has some leaf damage. That is a theme through here. I've got earwigs, and we've got slugs, and who knows what other kind of pests we have eating on our leaves. So maybe I'll bait around here. I have been baiting in other places for slugs and earwigs, but maybe I'll do some here. The astilbe did really nicely. It was a beautiful pink flower, and now it's done, and there's another one here. This one got a little bit dried up, so I need to be on the astilbes with water more, a little bit more frequently. So let's get a sense of where we are. We're headed down toward the Arborvitaes on this shady border. Now under this, which I believe is a waxleaf privet, waxleaf ligustrum, I think. Under here, this is full shade all the time. No sun ever hits from about here over to about here. And so actually these astilbes that are up there, they're in too much sun, and that's why that one started to burn up. So I'm going to move those down into this spot here, and they'll be in full shade, and that'll be better for them. I do have some Columbine back here, and they were just from seed, and they're drying up and shriveling up, but hopefully they'll come back better next year. Lady's Mantle. I have trouble in my garden with Lady's Mantle in this house, and I don't know why, but I'm hoping that these two do well here. They seem to be putting out new leaves, so that's a good sign. This is an Azalea and another Fothergilla that I put in here in the spring, and I just need to keep them watered and they'll do fine. This Hosta, again, is just a transplant from around other places. So all through here, this is all very green, and everything in here is green. And so I probably need to be adding in some other colors of foliage and some other interests of foliage. So let me know what you think. I've got this Vinca that's a ground cover that I am encouraging. And then on the other side of the chain link fence, I can't control what's over there. And so I kind of like the green, but I also kind of don't want it to be feeling too jungly. So if you know what can grow under a maple tree, under a waxleaf privet, that might be interesting to look at, let me know. It would be fine to have something taller here, but I'm having trouble figuring out what plants could give height and be in the shade that this gets. So, not sure. But the lower stuff, definitely, I've found lots of things. So, I had some broccolis in here, and they did each give me a nice broccoli head that we ate, and so I just pulled those out the other day. And then over here, I had some African daisies that I grew from seed, and I had some ranunculus that I tried and pretty much failed with. And so I just took those out recently, and now this bed is a lot cleaner looking, nicer, more cared for, less weedy, less kind of wild. Okay, so this azalea was here before, but we have been watering it and loving on it with azalea fertilizer and the proper nutrients for it, and it's thriving. Yay. This is a new shrub that I put in. This is a false cypress. I forget exactly which variety. It might be lemon thread. It might be something else. I can't remember. But it's doing okay. It'll grow. It'll probably be, I think, 4 or 5 feet tall and 3 or 4 feet wide in a pyramid shape over time. Right now it looks like a little just blob, but it'll grow. Okay, what else? Back here we have one of Proven Winners pink chiffon Rose of Sharon, and it's full of buds, but we haven't had any flowers on it yet, so I'm eager for that to flower up. Okay, let's talk real quick about the Arborvitae. These are emerald green Arborvitaes, and they've been here since, I think, April. So what is that, May, June, 2.5 months or so. They do have a few brown tips of branches, but they've stopped browning out. So I'm hopeful that those are just cicada damage and not an indicator of root drying out or anything like that. I do have them on drip irrigation, and oh, I see a little bit more brown out down there. So I'm just keeping my eye on it, trying to keep them nice and moist, and hoping that these brown tips are just cicadas, and that isn't an indicator of problems. So, all right, and in this area I have 2 of these are thornless pink flowering quinces, one here and one here, and they bloomed really nicely this spring, and so I'm eager to see those. Those will get, I think, about 4 feet tall, I think. I've got some kale and basil back in there, and then back in here, lots and lots of foxgloves that will be blooming next year. A hosta, this hosta probably gets too much sun here. It's full sun, and it seems to be wilty and bleaching out its color, so I'll probably end up moving that to a different spot. two different kinds of lavender here. They've both bloomed really nicely. One's Hidcote and one's Munstead, and I don't know which is which. They look really similar to me, so I was growing them as a test beside each other to see which I liked better, and to me, I like them both. So, yeah, I don't know. Now, the trick with this lavender is going to be to see if it will overwinter here. I think in my zone, the problem with lavender is that they stay too wet and they rot in the ground over winter. It's not that we get too cold for them, but that we're too wet for them. So we'll have to see what happens with these next spring. But so far this year, they seem to be loving their location here. Okay, down this way, we've got some kale here. This is a lobelia cardinal flower that it was a big pot and I divided it. I just cut the root ball into fours, and now I have 4 plants here. And as I expected this year, the 4 individual sections are looking pretty scraggly, but next year I'm certain, 100% certain. Okay, that's a bold statement. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty certain that next year when these flush back from the ground, they will each look so much nicer. Right now they're kind of tall and scraggly because each of them are 1/4 of what they were in their pot. But they haven't bloomed yet, but I think we're getting ready to see some blooms. Yeah, at the ends of some of these stems, we do have bloom heads. So hopefully we'll get some bright red blooms for the hummingbirds to come down. I have seen hummingbirds on this hyssop, so that's exciting. And I've seen the hummingbirds on that salvia that's back there, that red one. I'm hop, skipping, and jumping all around. Sorry, I'll try to be a little bit more organized. All right, so this is calamint. It's not yet bloomed, but it will get, in fact, I see the buds coming along. It will get tiny white flowers, frothy bunches of flowers at the end of those stems, and it'll be a nice pollinator attractor as well. Here's a raspberry daiquiri, Agastache, and it too has tubular flowers, but I've not seen hummingbirds on this yet, but hopefully the hummingbirds will find it and enjoy it. This is thriving here, and I think it's going to spread, and it'll be a nice pollinator attractor here. I do have tons of cabbage moths in this garden, and I don't mind having cabbage moths because I'm not trying to grow any cabbage or kale for food. So I don't mind if I get cabbage moth caterpillars eating up cabbage because I'm not growing cabbage, but I like seeing these little white butterflies. Really moths actually, but they're pretty. I don't mind them. I know that they're a pest, but I don't mind them. Okay, the purple queen is going gangbusters. It's doing really well here. I'm just not sure that it's my favorite plant ever. My husband likes it, so I put it in for him. I don't know. There's something about it that just feels gangly. It feels a little bit unsettled, feels wild. I don't know. It's not my favorite. And then this behind it is an alternanthera, and I didn't know what that plant was when I was at the nursery, and I was looking for chartreuse foliage, and I wanted something that would grow up tall. I wanted it to be about 18 inches tall and wide and a little ball, and maybe make a little kind of more like that's doing, but shorter than that. And so I looked at the tags on these, and it said that it grew to 15 inches tall. Well, it is nothing close to 15 inches tall. I'd say it's 3 inches tall. And now I know, after doing some research, that this is really a spreader, more of a ground cover, or more, actually it's more of a trailer for containers, not so much a bedding plant. And if you put it in the bedding, you should really put it in the front because it'll spread out in a mat. I didn't know that when I planted them, and so, yeah, that was a mistake. That's an annual, though, so now I know. I do like the color of it compared to the hyssop and compared to the burgundy of this purple heart and kind of the deeper, darker reddish green of the lobelia. So I do like this color combination. I just wish the plant forms, I wish I had planted that a little bit more smartly. Summer Crush Endless Summer Hydrangea. It has bloomed beautifully, and now I really do need to trim off those blooms so that maybe we'll get some more blossoms on it this year. It is an endless summer variety, so hopefully it'll give us more blooms. We'll see. This is a daylily I just pulled from somewhere else in the yard just to have a filler. This is a phlox that hasn't yet bloomed, but I see buds on it. Yeah, lots of buds coming on this. This is Gina variety, Jeana, and it's a pink, and so I'm eager to see this blossoming soon. Get out of here without stepping on anything. All right, yeah. Okay, and then down this way, this is a boxwood. It's a green mountain. I'm not trimming it this year. Next year I'll trim it and start to put it into a cone shape. And it has a matching one over there, another green mountain. That this again will be in a cone shape. And then this is Nepeta, Walker's Low. I should really trim that back, and maybe it'll bloom a second time. But I saw some pollinators on them yesterday, so I didn't want to cut them yet, quite yet. All right, and then what else? Here we are, the Gladiolus, the Gladiolus that so many of you commented on, the red color, and I'm grateful to all of you for all of your comments, and I have decided, yes, I will keep the red in the garden. We will keep the red Gladiolus because they're just so vibrant, and so many of you said, and I agree, that they add drama, they add interest, and a little of red goes a long way, and so I'm happy to have it. And I really do like the red and the purple together with those jewel tones, just being a really pretty combination. So yeah, we'll keep that. So let's take a closer look at them. I got them staked up better yesterday. I did have them staked, but the stakes were too low. And so they were flopping. So I put, actually this is rebar, it's a little overkill, but it's what I had on hand that was the right height. So in fact, the red ones are just about done blooming. In fact, that one is done blooming, but they're pretty. They are pretty. And like I said in my other video, I wouldn't have chosen red as a color for the garden, but I do like it in the end, so I will be keeping these. Oh look, the rain cut this one off. Darn. Oh. Well, I'll take this up to the house and put it in water and enjoy it inside. So yeah. Cherokee Princess dogwood tree, I unnetted it yesterday, and we do have cicada damage on it. Every single branch on this tree has slits from the females laying their eggs into it. So I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that these branches are thick enough to withstand that and that we won't lose any more limbs. I did lose about 4 or 5 limbs to the cicadas. All right, yeah, it's looking nice. I have a hosta here. I think this gets too much sun. We'll move that one into a shadier location. These are the Real Charmer Shasta Daisies. And they have a really interesting form. First of all, when they first open, they're yellow centers with yellow blooms. Then as they mature, the petals turn white and the center stays yellow. And I don't know if these petals right on the edge of the center are going to stay yellow or if they're going to turn white also. I love the frilly petals on it. Isn't that interesting? It's really nice. I really like this. I've never grown this before. I have 3 plants of it, and you can see I've got lots of buds coming on. Each of these buds takes a long time to open. Like, I've been watching this one and waiting for it to open for the last at least a week, if not longer. So I'm hoping that this will be a really nice addition to the garden here. I think they will spread and fill in and make a mat, not a mat, but a nice clump here. So I'm hopeful for that. I have some Sedum Autumn Joy here. This is just cuttings that I had from last year that, they grow like really well in my garden. I was going to say they grow like weeds. They don't grow like weeds because I don't like weeds, and I do like Sedum Autumn Joy. This is a Monarda that I bought, a little quart pot of it like 2 months ago, and it did nothing until this week. When we had this really hot weather, it exploded. And I think when I bought the pot, it had, I think, 3 stems on the plant maybe, and now look how full it is. So that's what Monarda does. You have to put it where you want it because it will spread, but yeah, this is going to be pretty. I don't know how tall this plant eventually will get when it's mature. Here in its first year, it's only about a foot tall, but it might grow taller in the end when it's a little more established. I'm not quite sure, but I do like Monarda, and I'm hoping that this one doesn't get too much of the powdery mildew problem that so many Monardas get. Rose Campion, I bought mainly because I like the leaves. It reminds me of lamb's ear, doesn't it? And it will put up bloom stalks. I don't know what season the bloom stalks come, and so I don't know what to expect from this year. I've never grown it before. I'm imagining it's probably springtime bloom stalks, and it won't do anything else this year. So these clumps are just sitting here nice and happy, and they get a little bit wider over, you know, every week they're a little bit wider as more leaves come up on them, but so far nothing showy here. 3 denim and lace Russian sages. I love the color on this. I'm excited to see how these perform. I spaced them so far apart because the tag said that that is about what their spread will be when they're mature. And so a young perennial garden, you know, you just have a lot of mulch showing for a while. But maybe next year or the year after they'll be mature and they will actually fill in this little arc right here around this, which is an elderberry, a variegated variety of elderberry. I forget its name. I have talked about it before. I forget the name of it. I'll pop it up on the screen. So this is going to get 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, but when that happens, no, that's not right. How tall does that get? I forget. Anyway, my plan for this is to have it be a nice big ball shrub that will block the view from up at the top of the house down into this area. So this will be not visible from the house when this shrub is big. So that's my plan here, and I'm hoping to keep it out of this tree. So that might be a little bit of a management task with my pruners over time, but for now, of course, it's no problem. This is the Furman's Red Autumn Sage, and it has red flowers. I talked about this in my last video about the red gladiolus. And so the red and the red match together, and the purple and purple match with this purple. So I really do like this combination after all, upon thinking about it. So I had 2 other of these scabiosas here. This is Blue Note scabiosa. This plant is doing fine, but the other 2 dried up. So I don't know what's going on with that. They got the same amount of water. Maybe this one gets more sun. Maybe this one gets less sun. I don't know. Anyway, so I only have 1 of these left. I had 2 there. And that's the first and only casualties of this whole backyard renovation project are these 2 scabiosas there. So that's pretty good luck so far, I would say. 3 red twig dogwoods, so I'm looking forward to having those come in. Right now they're putting on some height and some growth. I don't see anything red about them yet, but maybe they turn red in the cold, or maybe in their 2nd year, or I don't know. I do want to mention all these brown branches of leaves that have fallen down all over the yard. That is damage from the cicadas. So they have done their thing. The cicadas are all gone, but what they did was the females laid their eggs in the tips of the branches in the area where the branches are small. And where that happened, the branches died off and they're hanging there dead. You can see them way up. So many brown tips on all of our trees. And so then the wind comes and they fall down and they're all over the yard. And so everybody in our whole central Maryland area, their lawns are covered with brown tips of branches of trees. And so that's what's going on there. I just haven't gotten around to get it cleaned up this morning because of the rain. Okay, I'm being pretty gabby in this video. How you doing? You hanging in there? Do we need to take a break? Maybe get up, stretch your legs, go refill your coffee, take a potty break? I don't know. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but I'm having fun out here. I hope you're having fun following along with me. Thank you so much, and I am going to get back to it right now. Here we go. Okay, we're back. So Azalea is doing fine. This was transplanted from a different, actually it was transplanted from like right up there. So just moved it down a little bit, but I'm keeping water on it and it seems to be liking its new location. So that's good. And then this path goes over to the gate, and then this is all just leftover plants and nothing special happening here yet. But over time, we'll be making this more of a destination and pretty garden area. 2 of these Furman's Red here. I saw a hummingbird on it yesterday. Yay! This is Liripe clump I just had laying around, so I stuck it in there. This is not a designed element. This is just, where should I put this plant? How about there? Okay. Proudberry coralberry shrub is growing, but it is not doing much right now. It's put on about, What's that new growth look like? 3 or 4 inches, maybe 3 or 4 leaf clusters. So that means it's liking its spot, and hopefully that'll grow up. It should be 3 or 4 feet tall, maybe taller. I forget its specifications. All right, and this is a 9 bark. I think this is Little Devil 9 bark. I think. I'm not exactly sure. And it came from the nursery, actually, from Lowe's, with this shape. It had some really low spots and then some really tall spots. And so I'm hoping that it will even itself out over time, but it's got a low front and a tall back. It's like a peacock a little bit, with the back feathers up high and the front down low. This Gara is really filling in lovely and is putting out these bright pink flowers. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So each of these plants is spreading out, putting out lots of shoots, and I'm hoping that in just like a week or two that all of this will be covered with these pink flowers. I'm really, really hopeful for that. And I love the way it's mingling with this Nepeta Walker's Low. I have Walker's Low all over the place because I bought 3 plants one time 5 years ago. And, you know, you divide it, you divide it, you divide it, and here we are. We've got it all over it. But I love it, so it's okay. A lot of people think that the like the cat's pajamas or cat's meow Nepetas are better because they're more compact and they're more floriferous, and but I like these. I like the meandering ways of it. I like the way that it is soft and billowy, so I don't mind having the Walker's Low variety instead. And also, most of my Walker's Low plants are in areas where they don't get full sun, and so they tend to get a little bit more floppy when they're in part sun or part shade or even full shade. I don't think I have any in full shade. Anyway, and so if I put this out in full sun, it would have a lot more flower stalks on it and be longer and bigger. But I'm happy with this plant here. So you know what? Plant what you love, and there you go. All right, this is a rose that I just planted a week or 2 ago. If I can remember, I think this is Can Rose, and it's doing well. It's put out some new leaves and some new growth here. So Can is going to be nice on this obelisk. That's my plan anyway. Here are 2 euphorbias. I forget which variety these are, but they have red stems, and I think in the fall their leaves turn red, I think. And they had these pretty green flowers on them. Here's another twist and shout hydrangea. This one isn't as flowering as the one up at the top of the yard because this is in a lot more sun, and so it kind of wilts a little bit while it's in the sun. But it is putting out a lot of buds, so I think this one will be just as beautiful as the one at the top of the yard. It is bigger for sure, but I do have to water this one more because it gets a lot more sun. Okay, let's talk about these Rockin' Playin' the Blues Salvia. I've never grown these before, and I am so impressed. Look at all the activity of bees on it. Yeah, this is 3 plants, and they're wonderful. I did pinch them each once, but they've all shrubbed up and bloomed out, and just lovely. I'm very, very happy with this salvia plant. And I do like it with this lace cap next to it too, with the pink and then the blue purple. Yeah, nice combination, I think. And there's my China Boy Holly back there. He's hanging in. He did his job. He fertilized all of my hollies this year. So the 2 China girls that are out in front there, they have berries on them. And then the dragon ladies, which we'll see in just a minute, have berries on them too. And these inkberry hollies, they're doing really well. You can see fresh new growth pushing out of all of those. I do have them on drip irrigation, so they're happy with their water situation. China Boy's on his drip system as well. Oh, and while we're here, let's take a peek at the Leyland Cypress. They're hanging in. They're not doing too much new growth, but they're not dying, so that's good. The skip laurels, they do have new growth on them, all of them, all the new branch tips there, so I'm happy with that. And then the one new cryptomeria over there, it also has new growth tips on it, so yay. So this shrub border on the other side of the fence is starting to do its job. Yeah. Now this fence is the bane of my existence. I really don't like the way it looks, but we're making progress toward covering it up. We have, can you see it? A clematis right here. I think that's called Radar Love. Is that what it's called? Something? But it's outgrown the fence, and now I'm interested to see how tall it'll grow before it flops over. We'll see. And then over here I have this pyracantha that I put on the fence. This is Yukon Belle, and it's putting on new growth tips also. So this will hopefully grow up and out and cover this section of the fence. And hopefully we'll have, probably not this year, berry set, probably not, because I didn't see any flowers on it. But next year, hopefully it'll flower in the spring and then have berries in the fall and start to cover up this fence. Okay, we have a little bit of messiness here. This is branch damage from the redbud tree that I took the nets off yesterday, and I did have a lot of branches that died, and so I just tossed them on the ground so far, but I got to clean that up. Okay, this garden here, we have a bronze fennel, which I'm excited to see its fluffy leaves. Look at this. It's so fine. And this will grow to be 3 or 4 feet tall, and I think it's perennial in my zone. So I'll be excited to see if I can keep this bronze fennel going, and if it does grow up 3 or 4 feet tall here, that'll be a nice accent to have with this Gara, which is the same Gara that I had over here. And so if we get the bright pink flowers next to the bronze fennel, I think that'll be nice. Just a plain daylily that I tossed in there. And these penstemon have bloomed. I need to deadhead them. I forgot to do them yesterday. Oh, statice. Yes, I planted this statice from seed and it is blooming. Yay! Interesting that some of them have these little white tip flowers and some of them don't. What's up with that? Do you know about statice? I don't. Statice is really interesting because their stems are triangle shaped. Can you see? There's 3 sides to this stem, and they have these like little fins on the stems. So these are great for cut flower arranging as a filler, and they're also great for dried flowers. So I like this. I think I'll be growing more statice in the future. It was super easy, and it's really doing well. Okay, here's the other side of the Gladiolus. I staked them up yesterday as well. And yeah, they look really nice. I'm happy with them. They're just about done, the red ones. Purple ones are still going strong. These are Serendipity Allium. I think I called them something else in a different video, but they're Serendipity. And they're just starting to open. I wasn't sure if they were going to bloom for me this year. I got these mail order. But they're starting to, so that'll be fun to see those. And I think over time next year they'll be even bigger and more bloomy. Chinese snowball. I'm hearing thunder, so we might have to cut this short. We'll see. Chinese snowball viburnum is putting on new growth, so that's good. I have a rose here. This is a Zephyrin Druin rose, and I just planted her, and she's starting to put on new growth. So she seems to be happy here, so that's good. This is Bright Eyes Phlox, believe it or not, but it doesn't look like it. So, but the tag said Bright Eyes. It sure doesn't look like Bright Eyes to me. It doesn't have that soft pink outer with the dark pink center, but I like it, whatever it is. Its first year is short, but I think next year it'll grow taller, and this will also fill in as a nice clump here. So everything, I'm going to start to move a little quicker here because I'm hearing thunder. So everything here is doing well. I took out the snapdragons yesterday and cleaned this bed up a little bit. So we have, these are old plants that I had transplanted. They're doing well. These are new shrubs, the blue point and the loropetalum, and they're doing well. The azalea there transplanted nicely. So everything is going strong. I'm keeping everything well watered, and I'm keeping everything fertilized on schedule, so they're doing well. The hydrangeas in their containers, they're very happy in their containers. They're starting to already push out new leaves. So yeah, it was like at the end of this stem here. Come in and you can see it a little bit closer. Right at the tip of that branch, it put out a new stem, and the same thing's happening right here. So putting them into this container was a smart move, and I recommend that to you if you have black walnut problems and hydrangeas. Okay, let's just take a quick gander up this beautiful curvy row. I love this curve. It's one of my favorite views of the garden. Oh, right, yeah. So these are old plants that I transplanted, and they are doing very well. Dragon Lady 1 and Dragon Lady 2, they're very happy in these spots. Look at all the berries on them. They're just covered with berries, and those will turn red and be beautiful winter interest. Along here, there's more Nepeta. This is Siberian Iris that I mail ordered, and nothing has happened with them, but hopefully they'll bloom for me next year. This is another fragrant tea olive, and it's putting out new growth as well. It is taking some leaf damage, so I do need to bait around this as well. More sedum. I had some annuals in here. They weren't doing well, so I took them out. This is a Camellia Japonica Turandot variety, and it's doing well also, putting out new leaf tips. This is, I think, is it Winter Gem Boxwood? And again, it's new this year. I'm not going to be pruning it this year, at least not a hard prune. I'll start to shape it more next year. Green beans, 4 green bean clumps, and I have had about 25 green beans so far. And so that was, what, a meal for one, maybe? So I'm happy with that. They don't get nearly as much sun as they need, but, you know, a little fun. My strawberry pots, I think we've had 4 strawberries off of this. So again, you know, I just don't have the sun for vegetables or fruit production. And so whatever I can get is just a fun project. My 2 tomatoes, I think this is a Sweet 100 cherry tomato, and this is, I think, Sun Sugar cherry tomato. And I think we've had 3 tomatoes off of them. I do see another one ripening right in there. And we do have more fruit on the vines. It's just that they're not ready yet. So they're not nearly as productive as they would be if they had full sun. You can see how kind of thin the plants are. I've been fertilizing them. I've been keeping them watered. It's just sunlight. It's just not enough sunlight here for them to be super productive. But, you know, I'm happy with what I can get. I took out some annuals that were here to try to just clean up the space and make it look a little neater, a little tidier. Everything is doing well. I'm not having any dieback. I'm not having any problems with plants dying or anything. The only thing I'm having is insect pressure on the leaves. So some of the things I'm able to bait with Sluggo, and others I just haven't done it yet, and so I need to. Okay, the fairy rose is growing. It is so much bigger than it was when I planted it, and it has put out tons and tons of sprays of flowers, and it continually has more and more buds coming along. This is a rose you don't have to deadhead if you don't want to. You can if you want, but you don't have to. It just keeps blooming all year long, so that's going to be gorgeous. And over time, I have had a fairy rose before that got to be 5 feet wide and about 3 feet tall. So if you want it to get big, you can let it get big. I think this one I'm going to try to keep it about 3 or 4 feet tall and wide. It is getting darker and darker. We're going to lose our clear skies here in a second. Limelight Hydrangea. She's got lots and lots and lots and lots of buds on her. This was a brand new pot, 3-gallon pot that I put in earlier this spring, and it's doing so well. Very, very happy. Allium, Millennium Allium over here. These 3 I mail ordered from Proven Winners, and this one I picked up at Lowe's. This one's blooming first, but only 1 bud on it, and it's not very tall, is it? Over here we have more buds, but I would say next year is where I'm going to hope that the Millennium Allium are going to do better. I have 2 of these Salvia Argentea, is that what they're called? I understand that these are biennials, so they'll be foliage this year, and they may flower next year, and then they're done, I think. But I put them in because I wanted that beautiful, soft, fuzzy foliage. I love lamb's ears, and so anything that reminds me of lamb's ears is a win in my book. This is a gold standard hosta that I had transplanted from somewhere else. It's just hanging out in there. Same thing with these daylilies. They're just hanging out. Look at my dahlias. Oh my gosh, I think we're going to get downpoured on here in just a second. Let me squeeze this in. Dahlia row is doing really well. These are mostly from seed, unwinds mix, and we have lots and lots of yellow ones. One orange one, this is the first bloom for that orange one. I've not seen that opened yet until now. Here's a soft pinkish whitish one. And over here we have a magenta colored one. So all of these were from seed, these singles. They're all from seed, unwinds mix, and I'm really happy with them. And I'm gonna mark and keep the tubers from the colors that I like. So I'll keep this pink one, I'll keep some of the yellows, keep this soft pink. I probably won't keep the orange. And then this is Crazy Love Dahlia. Very pretty. Kind of a medium sized. It's, I'd say, what, 2.5 to 3 inches wide and about, 2.5 feet tall. And so it's doing really well. And then back here we have Seattle. And it's blooming beautifully also. Nice yellow with white accents. And that one's about 3.5 to 4 feet tall. I do have a stake there ready to stake it, but I haven't staked it yet. I probably should as a preventative measure. I haven't tied it onto the stake is what I mean. Okay, here comes the rain. I'm going to go inside, but that is the backyard. Yay! Well, friends, it was a long garden tour, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing how all the new plants are doing, how everything is coming together. There are some changes I will be making, but there are also some things I'm very happy with. Thank you so much. If you have been here encouraging me throughout this garden renovation, I really appreciate it. And if you're new here, welcome, and I hope that you'll consider subscribing and following along with all of our garden adventures here in Harmony Hills. I'm going to sit down here on my safe, dry porch with my cup of coffee and my dogs and enjoy this rain and enjoy the cooler weather. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye-bye.